We are here at Arlington National Cemetery and we're getting ready to take off for our tour. How's everybody doing today? So we're getting ready to take off. Then we're going to see JFK and some other well-known spots. So follow along.
Oh, please don't. Folks, just a reminder, please do not attempt to board or disembark from a moving vehicle. Very, very dangerous. So please remain seated throughout the tour. On the driver's side, the large gray building is the Military Women's Memorial, dedicated to all women's military service in the United States, past, present, and future. Over 1.8 million women who are serving or have served in the United States military, and many more to come. The memorial, dedicated in 1997, and the project was spearheaded by Brigadier General Wilma L. Vaughn.
Yeah, we seen some.
Inside the memorial are a gift shop and a museum, both open till 5 p.m. Ahead of us, on both sides of the vehicle, a set of cast iron gates with 4 gilded emblems. The Army, the Navy, the Coast Guard, and the Marine Corps, the 4 branches of the armed services, at the time that the gates were installed in 1932. The United States Air Force did not become an independent branch until 1947. Crossing the road in front of us is a paved pathway. The Custis Walkway runs throughout the cemetery. And on the passenger side, working over the Custis Walkway, second row, left-hand side, with stones on his grave marker, Technical Sergeant Medgar Evers, served during World War II, after which he applied to the University of Mississippi Law School and was denied entrance because of his race. He became the first field secretary of the NAACP in his home state of Mississippi, investigating hate crimes, including the death of 14-year-old Emmett Till, which may have led to his own assassination. He was gunned down in his driveway in Jackson, Mississippi in the summer of 1963, and buried here at Arlington 3 days later with full military honors. On both sides of the vehicle, and especially on the driver's side, rows upon rows of standard grave markers. These grave markers are given to the families of the service members by the Veterans Administration at no cost. They weigh approximately 230 pounds and are made of Vermont marble. You're looking at the back side of the grave markers and may see the name of a spouse or a dependent child. Grave markers are 42 inches tall, 18 inches in ground, 24 inches above ground, 14 inches wide, 4 inches thick. In March of, let's forget about March. 630 miles south of mainland Japan, 600 miles north of the island of Saipan in the Pacific Ocean, lies the island of Iwo Jima. In February of 1945, Iwo Jima was held by over 20,000 Japanese soldiers. It was invaded by a force of 80,000 United States Marines in a battle that lasted 5 weeks. The day of the battle, the Marines captured the high ground, a semi-dormant volcano known as Mount Suribachi, atop which they raised a flag to let it be known to all around. The hill was now held by the Marines, and it was so inspirational that they decided that they needed to raise a second, larger flag. The second flag was brought up to the top of Mount Suribachi. 6 Marines raised it. They were captured and photographed by Associated Press photographer Joe Rosenthal. That photograph was printed across the country and around the world. It's turned into a sculpture by Felix de Weldon. The sculpture is the United States Marine Corps War Memorial. Of the 6 Marines, 2 are buried here at Arlington. Sergeant Michael Strank in Section 12, Corporal Ira Hayes in Section 34, and with the flags by his grave marker on the driver's side, black lettering, Corporal Renee Gagnon was long thought to be one of the 6 Iwo Jima flag raisers, and is now understood to be the man who carried the flag to Mount Suribachi. This is the stop before the United States Marine Corps War Memorial, just outside the cemetery. Anybody getting off here for Iwo Jima?
Where is it?
Anybody?
Where is it?
Good afternoon, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
we're
Welcome
off.
back aboard for a tour of Arlington National Cemetery. My name is Daniel. Our driver is Alcide. Our next stop is the President John F. Kennedy Memorial Gravesite with the Eternal Flame. Please remain seated. Keep hands, fingers, cameras, and cell phones inside the vehicle. On the driver's side of section 27, about halfway down this front row, we find Private William Christman of Pennsylvania, who died in 1864 of the measles and was buried here on May the 14th, 1864. The first military burial here at Arlington National Cemetery. Driver's side grave markers have the initials USCT for the United States Colored Troops, African American soldiers who served during the Civil War. And on the passenger side, tall green bell towers, Netherlands Carillon, a gift from the people of the Netherlands to the United States in recognition of the liberation and rebuilding of their country following World War II. As we get down to the flats here, driver's side grave markers have the word civilian, and on the passenger side, citizen. These are freedmen, formerly enslaved African Americans. Freed first by the Emancipation Proclamation, then by the 13th Amendment abolishing
nice.
slavery, and finally the 14th Amendment guaranteeing birthright citizenship. And they wanted it to forever be known that they were now citizens, were now free. It says so on their grave markers. Freedmen's communities existed in and around Washington, D.C. during and after the Civil War, including here on the Arlington Plantation. There were Freedmen's School, Freedmen Village, and the Freedmen's Cemetery here on the Arlington property.
Where are you getting off at?
And on the driver's side, the small square grave markers with no names are Civil War unknown. Group burial markers for individual burial markers for unidentified Civil War soldiers, nearly 1,100 throughout the property. Many of them here in section 27. Would not be until World War I, over half a century later, that dog meat to about 2060.
All these
Behind
new
the
tombstones right here.
columbarium, section 82, we find Sergeant Arlie Ermey, the actor who portrayed Gunnery Sergeant Hartman in the film Full Metal Jacket. You may recognize his voice, character Sarge from the Toy Story movie, and you may have heard him in an
He's up there in
episode
that little...
of SpongeBob SquarePants. On the driver's side, section 28. Section 28 has memorial trees for the wars in Korea and in Vietnam. In March of 1963, President John F. Kennedy paid a surprise visit to Arlington National Cemetery. He was here to see the Arlington House with its magnificent view of Washington, D.C. He was standing near where the flagpole at the house is today. Looking out over the city, he said to the park ranger giving his tour, "It is so beautiful, I could stay here forever." Unfortunately, forever came too soon, and 8 months later, President Kennedy was assassinated and shot and killed in Dallas, Texas on November the 22nd, 1963. And his wife, Jacqueline, upon recalling this story, would have him buried here at Arlington on the 25th of November, 1963. She lit the eternal flame at his gravesite. It was inspired by their visit to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier in Paris and the eternal flame there. Esophagus is Captain Robert Todd Lincoln. The oldest son of Abraham Lincoln, served as an aide to Ulysses Grant in the Civil War and as Secretary of War in the 1870s. Passenger side, Section 5, Supreme Court Justice Hill. 12 justices of the court buried here, including William O. Douglas, Chief Justice William Rehnquist, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., William Brennan, Potter Stewart. A tall black grave marker with the Star of David is Ruth Bader Ginsburg with her husband Martin. And 2 rows behind the Weeks Memorial of the dark gray grave marker for Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American Supreme Court Justice. He was appointed in 1967 by Lyndon Baines Johnson. The long, low gray wall is the boundary of President John F. Kennedy Memorial Gravesite. And buried alongside President Kennedy are his wife Jacqueline, 2 infant children, white crosses for brothers Robert and Ted, And a memorial marker for older brother Joseph Jr. His plane was lost over the Atlantic in World War II. This is our stop for President Kennedy gravesite. Do wait until we come to a complete halt.
All right, we're getting ready to get out and go to see the
Make
gravesite.
sure you have your personal belongings.
All right, we're going to be walking up to the eternal flame. We can find a pathway. Here, over there, go this way. It's been a long time since I've been here, about 3 or 4 years anyway. So we'll make our way up to the eternal flame. Yeah, you gotta walk up to the little hill to get there though. This is a huge cemetery. I'll probably say about maybe 5 times the size of Hollywood and Richmond. I mean, this is like that's why we got the tram ride. Now, if you're into fitness like me, I mean, you want to get around, you can walk it, but just be mindful just to be hydrated the whole time, because there's a lot of hills and stuff. So I think we gotta be a little silent when we get through here. Pay your respects. So what it says right here: silence and respects. My sister. Here we are. Kennedy's right there in the middle. Let's see if I get a square shot of it. John F. Kennedy, and again the eternal flame. All right, I'm gonna walk around the corner. There's a cross over there in the distance. You see it right there? That's where Bobby Kennedy should be at. His little brother. We're gonna walk over there and check that out. All right, we're getting ready to approach Bobby Kennedy. I don't know why they put him all the way over here for, but 1925, 1968. Here's some, I guess, some quotes that the president says. It's from numberless diverse acts of courage and belief that human history is shaped. Each time a man stands up for an ideal or acts to improve the lots of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope, and crossing each other from a million different centers of energy and daring, those ripples build a current that can sweep down the mightiest walls of oppression and resistance. I guess these are the quotes of little Bobby here. I think he's got two more over here. You can pause the video and check it out. We'll make our way down to our next stop when we get back on the tram. It's kind of down here in the little overlook area. I think we're going to see the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier too. That'd be awesome.
Including your hands, please.
All right, looks like we're going to split the group
Next
up.
stop will be the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
It's going to be harder to get video and pictures.
So coming up here
in
on
this
the passenger
bus.
side, towards the end of the hill, there's a taller grave marker with a cross engraved on it. And this is for Daniel Chappie James Jr. He was a Tuskegee Airman and went on to become our first African-American four-star general. And on the driver's side, we have an equestrian statue. The man upon the horse is British Field Marshal Sir John Dill. He was instrumental in helping to cement the special relationship enjoyed between the United States and the United Kingdom. On the passenger side, this is section 2. A very large section runs all the way up the hill towards Arlington House. Buried here are two 5-star naval officers, Fleet Admiral William Bull Halsey and Fleet Admiral William Leahy. An acclaimed Hollywood actress is buried here, Maureen O'Hara. She starred in movies including Miracle on 34th Street, also the original Parent Trap. Her husband was Brigadier General Charles Blair Jr. Spouses and dependent children are permitted to be buried along with service members. And then atop the hill, there are 4 large gray markers. That is Chaplain's Hill. The markers are dedicated to chaplains of many faiths who lost their lives in various conflicts over time. Now, Marshall, he's best remembered for authoring the Marshall Plan, which outlined redevelopment of Europe following World War II. That won him the Nobel Peace Prize, and he is the only Nobel laureate buried here in Arlington. Also on the passenger side here, you'll find the Marines Marine, Lieutenant General John Lejeune. If you've ever heard of Camp Lejeune in North Carolina, that is named in his honor. He served as 13th Commandant of the Marine Corps, also Superintendent of Virginia Military Institute.
All right, I think the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier is up there where those people are coming out. Well, I think we're going to go up in this little building right here first and check this out. I think there's restrooms and stuff in here too. I think this building right here is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, I think. No, this is the big amphitheater right here. Might be on the other side of the building back there, where everybody was coming out at. Alright, I think we're getting ready to come across the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. We gotta be quiet here.
may I have your attention, please? I am Sentinel Smith, of the 3rd Infantry Regiment, United States Army. Guard of Honor 2 for the unknown soldier. The ceremony that you are about to witness is the changing of the guard. In keeping with the dignity of this ceremony, it is requested that everyone remain silent and standing. Thank you.
Perfection. guard. I think that's it. That was awesome. Sink to perfection. Alright, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, that was excellent. Sink to perfection. I know they practice that, you know, constantly, every day. I wonder what their salary is, but they do it 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, rain, sleet, or shine. It doesn't matter. So I guess we're gonna wait on the next tram. If you ever come to visit Arlington, it's a highly recommended visit right here to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. So next stop, we're gonna wait on the next trolley, I guess, and we're gonna go to the next stop. And we're gonna go over here to the bus tram and wait. It's a busy day here at Arlington. There's a lot of tours and field trips here today for some reason. I don't know why. I guess it's towards the end of the school year. And people make their way up here, I guess, from all over. I don't know what the next stop is going to be yet, so we'll just follow along. Just another panoramic view. We got some construction going on here too, so just don't mind that. Must be Ronald Reagan Airport nearby.
Harbor, Cuba in 1898. This directly led to the Spanish-American War. All the martyrs facing the mast and surrounding the mast are the men who lost their lives on that fateful day. The street surrounding the mast itself is known as Sigsbee Drive, named after Captain Michael Sigsbee, who was captain of the ship when it perished. As we continue forward here, on your passenger side, you're going to be entering section 13. Laid to rest here is going to be the original property owners of the land when the land was an 1,100-acre livestock plantation. It was owned by George Washington Parke Custis and his wife Mary Lee Fitzhugh. George Washington Parke Custis was the grandson to and inherited the land from Martha Dandridge. The cemetery contacts the descendants and asks them, do you want this renewed? Do you want this maintained, taken care of? And it typically comes out very expensive, which is why we no longer allow this. And also why, if they wanted to switch to one of those smaller white marble ones that we're known for, the government issued ones completely free to them, that's also free to them if they wanted to switch out an ornate one in order to no longer have to pay for that. As we make this turn, on our passenger side, we're going to see just along the curved line, Major General Philip Kearny of New Jersey on top of this horse. That's the second of our two equestrian statues. But as we make the full turn, we're now seeing the James Tanner Amphitheater here on our passenger side. This is named after Abraham Lincoln's stenographer, James Tanner. Despite him being a double amputee, he made sure he was at the president's bedside when President Abraham Lincoln succumbed to his assassination gunshot wound. So this is something you can visit if you hop off at the stop. You can walk through Mrs. Lee's Rose Garden, you get that beautiful smooth seat. You just can't access the inside of the house itself. But the surrounding area will still all be available to you. In front of the house is also the final resting place of Pierre Charles L'Enfant, which I Howard Taft. He is laid to rest here with his wife, Helen Herron Taft, affectionately known as Ellie. As we make our way back down to the Welcome Center here, we're going to be coming through the World War I Memorial Gates once again, but more.
All right, and that concludes our tour. It was a pretty eventful day. The highlight of this place was the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Highly recommend it. I mean, there's a lot of presidents and soldiers served in the Confederate Army, World War I, World War II. It's a highly recommended stop. So, I guess we're just gonna wrap up the video here. Big Mark Adventures out.